So in this video, I'm going to take you through and how we actually helped Arena get 30% more client capacity, but more importantly, more stronger creative. And Arena is the founder and brand strategist, LOJ, that's Life on Jupiter. And on the right-hand side, you can see some of the work that we've created with her. The difference being here is that we help her visualize her idea from concept. And that's the main thing we do with Arena. You see here at the top that we helped with Impossible Foods and bringing this into the European market. In the bottom left is Stellar Bikes. We do the campaign posters and designs, but also the photography as AI. And on the right-hand side is the visual idea for the Curacao campaign, Curacao football team, actually. And next, you see some of the results. And we actually increased, her client capacity by 30%. And more importantly, the mental capacity for her. She doesn't have to constantly worry about the creative. And as she says here, 20 to 30% more capacity. But the biggest difference is mental capacity. I don't have to constantly worry about whether the creative is good enough anymore. And we've been together with her for 18 months, which is still an active partnership. And you see and hear the Trust Pilot. She, as I said, she was relying on other freelancers, but the work wasn't good enough on a fundamental level. So she actually had to redo it, a lot of it herself, which in the end defeats the whole purpose of getting a freelancer, but increases her work time as well because she has to focus on the business and also create the concepts. But while working with her, we've increased her client capacity by 20 to 30%. But obviously the biggest difference is in mental capacity. She doesn't have to constantly worry enough if the creative isn't good enough anymore. So she can focus on the more important things. And the biggest thing for her also is that her ideas can actually become big visually. And a lot of people can execute, but few can actually add something. And that's what she's actually found with us, that we add not only the execution, but we also add the ideas behind it. And she goes on to say that we have really great taste in aesthetics, which might sound simple, but it's actually incredibly hard to find. And just on the left is the video, but I will leave the video in the last part where you can actually go through and watch her talk about it. So in the next page, I just wanted to go over some of the work that we've actually done. As I said, on the left-hand side, you see Stella, and that's doing a lot of AI photography and also some of the designs for poster designs and advertisements. And on the right-hand side, the bike, that's some of the actual photography that we've created with AI. And that's another way where we can help you, cut costs and increase revenue if you plan to do a photo shoot, but don't have the resources or the money to actually pay for an expensive photo shoot. And in the middle here, you see some of the photography shot, again, with AI actually, is Impossible Foods. And below is for Curacao, the Blue Wave. And Gal is a Dutch company in Holland that sells alcohol. So what the actual problem was, before we came along, Arena was actually relying on, other freelancers to help her visualize the idea. But, it actually, on a fundamental level, wasn't good enough. And she would actually have to constantly redo a large part herself. So, in time, this actually became a big problem for her because she couldn't actually focus on the business. She couldn't focus on getting more clients and building the ideas. She would have to go back and then redo things herself. And the visual quality of Life on Jupiter depended almost entirely on her vision because she's more of a brand strategist. She doesn't do all of the campaign. So there was no room to step back. She was still the bottleneck, even with help. And when we came here, how we actually helped her was, again, we became her white label creative partner. And more than just a freelancer, we became an extension of her team. And that's the important thing about us, about Fullscape. We're not there to be we just do the work and we leave. We're there to build a partnership with you. So exactly how we work, and we know how you work, and we know how your clients work. And therefore, the production and the visualization becomes a lot quicker, and therefore you can increase your revenue by 20 to 30%. And what we did, we took on the strategic brief, one good discussion to develop the key visuals and also, the idea that she brings. So we gelled them together, our ideas, her ideas, to make something better. So then she could actually make her ideas big, once they leave the strategy, and not smaller. And the important thing, there was no need to over-explain or rebrief each time. And I think that's a very important thing, that the briefing, and that we capture the idea quickly and we can execute quickly. So the results in the end, obviously you saw it start through our process. We increased her capacity to 30% more client capacity. But the biggest change, of course, was the mental capacity. No longer does she have to worry about whether the creative will hold up. She knows that the creative will hold up because trust has been built, and we know how to visualize and execute. And their real campaigns were delivered. Impossible Foods, the European market positioning, Ethos, another Dutch company, and Gal & Gal. And we've become an extension of the team. So instead of just another external freelancer. So next now, I'm going to leave you with the video, Irina talking about us and how we've worked together and how she succeeded.
Hey there, my name is Ina. I'm the founder and brand strategist at Live on Jupiter. I just wanted to say I have been super happy working with Nia and Jordan of Fullscape. Actually, before working with them, I was mostly relying on other freelancers. And yeah, their work wasn't just good enough on a fundamental level. So I normally end up redoing most of the work myself, which sort of defeats the purpose, obviously. So I've been super happy since working with them. I think I've taken on maybe 20 to 30% more client work. Because just the work is great. So, and obviously it frees up other design hours. It frees up my time. And specifically, the biggest difference is the freeing up of the mental capacity that I have, because I don't have to constantly worry whether the creative is going to be good enough anymore, which is a massive result. What I've enjoyed the most actually is that they help ideas become bigger instead of smaller once they leave strategy. A lot of creative partners can execute, but very few can actually add something. So really reliable, great taste aesthetics, which sounds simple, but is incredibly hard to find. So thank you guys from Fullscape. Thanks so much.